I'm Whitney Doyle. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Director of Advocacy and Government Relations for the Amputee Coalition. And basically what that means is our advocacy department, where we're trying to get more people who have limb loss and limb difference engaged in either their own self-advocacy or systems advocacy. So that could be through training, that could be just through supporting them, letting them know what issues are coming down the pipeline in their state or in the federal government. But it also includes advocacy on behalf of the community with the federal government. As people who have disabilities, we find that we're not always as mainstream as we would like to be due to systems barriers or pieces of inequity that are across our country for various reasons. There are 5.6 million Americans living who have limb loss or limb difference. And we actually just released a study on, I think, Valentine's Day or sometime in February. So it's new numbers that we're really excited about, but we hadn't had that kind of data count before. So even just in looking at populations of people who have disabilities, people with limb loss and limb difference tend to be not counted as well as some of, we get lumped into the mobility or the physical disabilities, and that's fantastic because we do have, mobility devices and durable medical equipment that other populations are using, but prostheses are pretty specific to this population. So the awareness month is to celebrate that, we're here, we're going to be counted, we're out in the community, we need access to certain types of medical devices, just like the broad population, and kind of giving the opportunity to share what those systems barriers are that are unique to us. There actually are state initiatives to bring awareness to this, which Colorado is one that got some legislation passed last year, which was really exciting. The state initiatives, we're calling them So Everybody Can Move. So there's a whole national network of advocates working on the state legislation. And what it's looking to do is either bring parity to what's happening in the state. So maybe reimbursement for a prosthesis or an orthosis isn't equitable. It's a lot lower maybe in the state than, let's say, Medicare standards. So one piece of that could be making insurance fair, right? So trying to bring up those reimbursement rates so that the providers can expand what kind of devices they're able to offer people because they're able to get that reimbursed and paid for. And then the other piece is to actually access a device if it's medically necessary. So that could be if it's for recreation or physical activity. So right now, if you get a prosthesis or an orthosis outside of the states that have passed these laws, which there are 5, is that you just get one device and it's got to work for everything in your life, which if you think of a prosthesis like a pair of shoes, some people can get away with one pair of shoes for every part of their life, but some people want to either run or they want to hang out around the house, be a little bit more leisure, or maybe want to do very specific activities like biking or dance or anything like that. And one prosthesis might not be able to really do all of those activities. So
these are my prosthetics. This is what I'm currently using now to learn how to balance. These are what's called stubbies. Not the best naming, but very, descriptive of what they are. So this top part here, this is what's called the socket. This is what goes on my leg and gets adjusted and for stability. And then it just has, really short leg on there with a little foot. And this allows me to end bear, put weight through my legs and stand up and walk around and get that, just feeling of being upright and not seated, because I've been a wheelchair user for years now. So my body has changed a lot of muscle atrophy, and just your body just changes from being in a different position. And then eventually we're just gonna start adding height on here until we end up getting to add the full length of the prosthetic. And this is my prosthetic knee that will go on the end of this socket and put me up to my regular height. And then with this, I'll be able to walk around, and this prosthetic device will acts as a knee with, to emulate your gait in the way that your knee would swing and everything, and allow me to walk around independently. And it's really amazing technology and really great to have access to it. But it's not built for running. And there's a lot of things that it is specifically built for, but a lot of things that it isn't. There are also specific prosthetics for skiing and for anything, and snowboarding and everything like that. It's very clear that the barriers are systemic and built into our insurance systems and policies. And that's why it's so important to do this at a policy level and not on an individual to individual basis. So
we have a really incredible toolkit on how to get this stuff started. And it's with our partner organizations, but soeverybodycanmove.org is how you access that information. So what we have seen through the data is that even within access to getting a prosthesis is that it's different based on geography, but also based on race. So there are more people who are people of color that are getting amputations in America than, white Americans. So we're finding that there are system barriers that go even further back, because it could be wealth-based, it could be geography, right, in rural systems. It could be just the lack of trust in the healthcare system that some populations experience. So yes, I would say it's all the biggest piece of the inequities is around healthcare, but it goes so much further back than just being able to get the prosthesis in the first place. And we know the leading cause of an amputation, based on the study that we just published, was diabetes. And diabetes, of course, impacts a lot of Americans. And if we're knowing that this is something that's causing amputations at a high rate, again, it goes further back. Is it type 2? Is it something in the diet? Does it have to do with a food desert in their local community? There are so many more questions that we're kind of having to peel back to look at those, because we want to be able to understand and see how we can support when they do come to us. We take the opportunity to celebrate our uniqueness in the disability community of having these medical devices and, being able to say that we're taking our legs off after a long day of work or play or whatever it is. And our unique experiences that allow us to come in and be who we are, because we want the whole world to be able to live whatever life they want to live, and disability or not disability, and taking that burden of being the educators of our peers and taking that burden of having to even explain to our healthcare providers why we need this kind of device, just bringing more awareness to us as individuals and our unique challenges or barriers or opportunities to hopefully down the road make it easier for the next people coming to not have to advocate and fight to get a device paid for because they want to, go play in a pool or go ride a bicycle, or just having to fight to have something to walk and stand on, like that still is happening in the country, which is just not okay. So that's kind of my personal opinion on the matter, but
Great.
awareness is great for all of us.